Today I am taking 0.93 of a pound of beef tips that I got on clearance for $4.68. I put them in the crock pot. I added 5 tablespoons of my onion soup mix that is homemade. I can link that video at the end. And I have some sour cream that I bought at Aldi. I'm not a fan. It was too thick. And I'm going to make some beef stroganoff because we don't waste anything in this house. If we don't like it, we mix it into something else and we make it into a delicious recipe. Welcome, everyone. I'm Bonita from Pennies to Dollars, and I'm so glad that you joined me today. In this video, we're going to talk about using up what we have and how that can look so different from home to home and from person to person and from preference to preference. But there is one thing that using up what we have has in common, and that is being wise with our money, wise with our purchases, and being resourceful with the things that we already own in our homes. So many times we buy things and we stick them back, and then they don't get used, or they don't get used timely, or we don't have a purpose for them anymore once we come across them and say, why do I have this? What can I do with it? And one of the biggest money wasters that we can have is food. Food is something we all have to buy. And if you have a temptation to want to shop, food is one of those areas that we can trick ourselves into thinking, well, it's food, so it's okay. It's food. It's okay if I go over budget, or if I buy extra, or if I have too much already, because it's food. And I've been through that phase in my life before. And so that's why I'm speaking from experience. There were times that I knew I shouldn't buy clothes, I shouldn't buy home decor, I shouldn't buy other things. But when I bought food, I didn't feel guilty about it because it was food. You have to have food, right? So that's okay. But even food can be an extra purchase if we don't need it. And when we already have what we need at home to make delicious meals, we should really start using what we have and rotating through that rather than buying extra. Because when we buy new extra food, that tends to be what we use first. It's just the way our minds work. We will go and we will use something that is new and fresh, and we know that it's there because we just bought it, rather than look for what we have and try to get creative with it. Because sometimes that just takes extra brain power that we don't feel like we want to expend at the moment. So being resourceful with the things that we have can be the biggest money saver that we can utilize in our homes, whether it is with food, whether it is repurposing, reusing, or making something useful that we just don't have a purpose for. So the days of like buying that sour cream and saying, this is just not good sour cream, and just tossing it, those days are over. Inflation is high, cost of living is high, and throwing things away that we don't like is just wasteful. And we all know this. So I have challenged myself over the last several years to figure out a way to use something. If I mess up a recipe, if I oversalt something, if I made something and it didn't taste good, I repurpose it into another recipe where I won't notice. I don't throw food out anymore. I probably throw out 1% of food, if it's even 1%. That is how much I make sure that I utilize what I have, that I have already opened or I've already thawed. I don't want anything to go bad. Money is too precious right now, and I want to use my money for other things rather than throwing my food out. So when I saw that that sour cream was so thick, too thick to even put on baked potatoes. I mean, I think I've bought this before and I don't feel like I had a problem with it, but this batch was just so thick. And I thought, what can I do with this? Well, that tends to be the first question I ask myself with anything anymore that I don't know that I have an immediate use for. What can I do with this? So I've shared with you, we don't use flat sheets in this house. So when I have bought like sheet sets and I have a flat sheet, I hang on to those, but I'm like, what can I do with this? Now we know we can donate things like that to the Humane Society, but when I've had flannel sheet sets that maybe have some snowflakes or something on there for wintertime, I have repurposed those more than once and made them into curtains. I have cut them down to make them fit bedroom curtains. So when we have holiday guests, they have a little bit of a Christmassy feel. I've also put them over other curtains in the wintertime to just decorate my house up a little bit and make it feel more festive. I look at things before I toss them or donate them and say, can I figure out another use for this that would benefit me? And extra layers on my curtains during the winter in Kansas, that helps a lot. It not only makes it feel festive, but it also helps put another barrier of warmth between me and that outside window. I not only try to be resourceful with the items that I have, but I also try to find practical uses for them. For instance, sometimes I will get like newspaper ads in the mail that are black and white, and I will save those and I will use them in the place of a paper towel to clean my windows streak free. They work great, and I figure I'm saving myself a little bit and I'm getting a second use out of that junk mail. I also save jars and I freeze my broth in my jars, and I store dried beans and rice and all kinds of things like that in jars. It makes it a little bit decorative. It makes it easy to find. I don't have to dig through cabinets for it. And I have my own stash right there at my fingertips. So I don't have to buy any special storage containers. A lot of these things are just kind of common sense once you get into that frugal mindset of reusing some of the things that you have and not throwing things out. So, what do you use around your house that is practical, that is resourceful, and that you already have paid for? So, you can't see the point of just throwing it away. Sometimes even saving little containers that you would ordinarily toss can be an organizational tool. For instance, this is a pill bottle, and I have the earphones that go to my laptop and my iPad stored in here. It just makes them easy to find. I can take them with me if I need to and pack them easily. I also saved this old gum container that had gum in it, and I keep like my microphone in it for my YouTube. I keep an extra plug in there for when I need to charge. I even have a jump drive in there. So some of these little containers, they really do come in handy, but a lot of times we're really quick to toss those and then look later for a container to put something in so that we don't use it, or pull out a sandwich bag. These not only store them, but they protect them from being smashed or damaged in any way when I'm traveling. As I mentioned in the beginning, it has to do with personal preference. It has to do with what our needs are. I don't save every single pill bottle. Of course, I don't. I would have too much stuff around here. But when I see something like that and I know I have something that would work perfectly in there, I'm going to hang on to at least one or two of those to use them for when I travel. And sometimes just little things like that can be so helpful. It even keeps my desk from being cluttered with extra cords and a microphone that my cat might run off with because she thought it was a fun little toy she could toss around. So things that we can use in our own homes, they're very personal and they're very specific. So all I'm saying is maybe think before you toss and say, is there a way that I could use this to benefit me? Many people are much more creative than I am, and you can find all kinds of videos on YouTube on how to repurpose specific different items if you have something that you want to use. But for me, I try to use what is practical around my house that also doesn't create a bunch of stuff that I'm just stacking around, because I grew up in a house like that where my mom saved every single milk carton. She was from the Depression era. She strung them on a rope. She hung them from curtain rods, and our back hallway was just full of things that she was saving for reuse. So you don't want it to be like that. You want it to be practical, resourceful, and smart for the way that you live. But I use up food for sure. I don't want to waste food. Food is too precious, it's too expensive, and there's just no reason to throw out something that I can be creative about and use up. That's probably one of the areas I'm the most creative, is when it comes to cooking. I'm not scared of making up a recipe on my own or adding things together or even making things a different way every single time I do it. Things like potato soup and different things like that, I don't follow a recipe, and sometimes I don't make them the same way twice, but they always turn out good. So you can find your creative ability and tap into that and see what you can use in your home that might keep you from going out and buying something. Maybe if you can get creative with some of the food you have, it will keep you from running out or ordering DoorDash or something like that and making your food stretch. And when we have extra money and it gives us less stress because we have some money in the bank, it's amazing how much more creative our mind becomes. All of a sudden, all of the area in our brain that was taken up with stress of not having enough money or trying to figure out how to stretch things, that area becomes more creative because we now don't have to worry about that because we have a little money in the bank. And that's one of the things that I love about frugal living, is that I can find ways to save money every single day in my home. And that frees up the stress that I would normally have from things being too tight. And then it makes me more creative and I find more ways to save money. So it kind of builds on itself once you get that flow going. Please share in the comments below some things that you use or reuse or repurpose, or something that you've done lately that you were really proud of yourself because you found a practical, resourceful way to use it up. Thanks for listening today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll join me in the next one.